What if one question could completely change the direction of your life? Not because it gives you all the answers, but because it forces you to see yourself differently. Most people spend years searching for motivation, success, and happiness. But very few stop long enough to ask the one question that changes everything. Because sometimes your future doesn't depend on finding a new opportunity. It depends on asking yourself a better question. Have you ever noticed that your mind is always answering questions? Whether you realize it or not, your brain is constantly searching for answers. The problem is that most people are asking the wrong questions. They wake up and ask, why is my life so difficult? Why do bad things always happen to me? Why am I never good enough? Why can't I succeed like everyone else? And because the mind is designed to answer whatever you ask, it immediately begins searching for evidence. It reminds you of every failure, every disappointment, every rejection, every mistake. Not because your life is hopeless, but because your question told your mind where to look. Imagine walking into a library and asking for books about failure. You wouldn't expect the librarian to hand you books about success. The answer depends on the question. Your mind works exactly the same way. Ask limiting questions and your mind will produce limiting answers. Ask empowering questions, and your mind begins searching for empowering possibilities. That is why the quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of the questions you ask yourself every day. Instead of asking, why am I stuck? Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of asking, why can't I do this? Ask, what skill do I need to develop? Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how can this make me stronger? Notice what happens. The situation may not change immediately, but your perspective does. And when your perspective changes, your actions begin changing too. The people who create extraordinary lives are not always those with extraordinary circumstances. They are often people who ask extraordinary questions. Questions that lead to growth. Questions that create awareness. Questions that challenge excuses. Questions that unlock potential. Because every powerful answer begins with a powerful question. Your future is not determined only by the opportunities you receive. It is determined by the conversations you have with yourself. Every day you are directing your mind toward something. Toward possibility or limitation. Toward growth or comfort. Toward purpose or excuses. The choice begins with the questions you ask. So the next time your mind starts pulling you toward doubt, stop for a moment. Pause. Ask yourself a better question. Because one better question can interrupt years of negative thinking. One better question can create a completely different decision. Most people spend years asking one question over and over again. Why am I stuck? At first it seems like a reasonable question, but the longer you ask it, the more your mind searches for reasons to prove that you're trapped. It reminds you of your failures, your limitations, your disappointments, your fears. And before long you begin believing that being stuck is simply who you are. But what if you've been asking the wrong question all along? Instead of asking, why am I stuck? Ask yourself, who am I becoming? That single question changes everything, because it shifts your attention away from your circumstances and toward your growth. Think about it. Every single day, whether you notice it or not, you are becoming someone. You are becoming more disciplined or more distracted, more courageous or more fearful, more intentional or more careless, more confident or more doubtful. No one stands still. Life is always moving. The only question is in which direction. Imagine planting a tree. You don't stand beside it every day asking, why isn't it fully grown yet? You understand that growth takes time. You water it, you protect it, you stay consistent, and little by little something invisible becomes visible. The same is true for your own life. The person you're becoming is shaped by what you repeatedly do, not by what you occasionally wish for. Every habit is shaping your character. Every decision is building your identity. Every challenge is developing your strength. That means today's choices matter far more than today's feelings. Some days you won't feel motivated. Some days progress will seem invisible. Some days you'll question whether your effort is making any difference. Keep going. Because growth often happens beneath the surface before it appears on the outside. The mistake many people make is measuring their lives only by results. Instead, measure your life by the person you're becoming. Are you learning? Are you growing? Are you becoming stronger than you were yesterday? If the answer is yes, then you're already moving in the right direction. Because success is not just reaching a destination. Success is becoming the kind of person capable of living that destination. The life you dream about will always require a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more disciplined than the version standing here today. So stop asking why life hasn't changed yet. Start asking whether you're becoming the person capable of creating the life you want. Because the moment your focus shifts from the problem you're facing to the person you're becoming is the moment your growth accelerates. Your purpose becomes clearer, and your future begins unfolding in ways you never thought were possible. Now ask yourself one question that may be uncomfortable, but it could completely change your life. If nothing changed, if you continued thinking exactly as you do today, if you kept following the same routines, making the same decisions, repeating the same habits, where would your life be 5 years from now? Take a moment and imagine it. Not the future you hope for, the future your current actions are creating. Because there is a difference. Many people have beautiful dreams, but their daily habits are building a completely different destination. They want success, but they avoid discipline. They want confidence, but they never leave their comfort zone. They want change, but they repeat the same behaviors every day. Then they wonder why life feels the same year after year. The truth is simple. Your habits are always taking you somewhere. The question is whether they're taking you where you actually want to go. Imagine getting into a taxi. You tell the driver no destination. You simply say, just keep driving. Hours later, you cannot complain about where you ended up. Without direction, movement means very little. Life works the same way. Being busy is not the same as making progress. Many people are active. Very few are intentional. They wake up, go through the motions, react to whatever happens, go to sleep, then repeat the cycle. Days become weeks. Weeks become years. Nothing changes because nothing was intentionally changed. This question forces you to confront reality, not to make you feel guilty, but to wake you up. Because awareness is the beginning of transformation. If your current habits are leading you somewhere you don't want to go, that is not bad news. It is valuable information. It means you still have time to change direction. A small adjustment today can create a completely different future tomorrow. One better habit, one healthier decision, one courageous conversation, 1 hour spent learning instead of scrolling. Small changes repeated consistently produce extraordinary outcomes. Never underestimate the power of changing your direction before it's too late. Because 5 years from now will arrive whether you're ready or not. The only difference will be the choices you make between now and then. Your future is not waiting to surprise you. It is quietly being built by what you repeatedly choose every single day. So don't ask yourself only where you hope to be. Ask yourself where your current habits are taking you. Because the moment you become honest about the destination your daily choices are creating, is the moment you gain the power to change your direction, rewrite your future, and build a life your future self will be proud to have lived. Now ask yourself another question. A question that has the power to expose what has really been directing your life. What would you do if fear wasn't making your decisions? Think about that for a moment. How many opportunities have you walked away from because you were afraid? How many conversations did you never have? How many dreams did you leave behind? How many ideas stayed locked inside your mind because fear whispered, "What if you fail?" Fear is not always loud. Sometimes it speaks quietly. It sounds like logic. It sounds like caution. It sounds like waiting for the perfect moment. It tells you, you're not ready. Wait a little longer. Maybe next year. And because its voice feels reasonable, many people spend years listening to it. The tragedy is not that fear exists. Fear is a natural part of being human. The tragedy is allowing fear to become the decision maker. Imagine standing at the edge of a bridge. Fear points to the distance. It points to the possibility of falling. It magnifies every danger. But courage sees something different. It sees the destination on the other side. Both fear and courage are looking at the same bridge. The difference is which voice you choose to follow. Every meaningful achievement requires walking across a bridge that fear tells you to avoid. Starting a business, changing careers, speaking your truth, learning a new skill, following a dream. None of these happen without uncertainty. That is why courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is making the decision that your future matters more than your fear. The people you admire are not fearless. They simply refuse to let fear have the final word. They felt nervous. They questioned themselves. They doubted. But they acted anyway. And every time they acted despite fear, they became stronger. Every courageous decision weakened fear's control. Every step forward expanded what they believed was possible. The same opportunity exists for you. You don't need to eliminate fear before you begin. You only need to stop giving fear the authority to choose your future. Because every time fear makes your decisions, it quietly steals possibilities you may never see again. But every time courage makes your decisions, your world becomes larger. Your confidence grows. Your future expands. So ask yourself honestly, if fear had no voice today, what would I finally do? Because the answer to that question may be pointing toward the life you've always wanted. And the moment you stop letting fear write, your story is the moment you discover that your greatest opportunities have been waiting just beyond the limits you were brave enough to leave behind. Here's another question that has the power to completely transform the way you live. Are you living by design or by default? At first it sounds simple, but if you're honest, the answer can be life-changing. Most people don't intentionally create their lives. They simply react to them. They wake up because the alarm rings. They go to work because they have to. They scroll through their phones because it's a habit. They let circumstances decide their mood. They let other people's opinions shape their confidence. They let problems control their attention. And before they realize it, another year has passed. Nothing has truly changed. Not because they lacked potential, but because they never took ownership of the direction of their lives. Living by default means allowing life to happen to you. Living by design means deciding how you want to live before the world decides for you. Imagine an architect preparing to build a house. The architect doesn't arrive at the construction site and randomly place bricks wherever they fit. Everything begins with a blueprint. Every room has a purpose. Every wall has a reason. Every detail is intentional. Now think about your own life. Do you have a blueprint? Or are you simply reacting to whatever happens each day? Without intention, even busy people can spend years moving in circles. They mistake activity for progress, movement for direction, being occupied for being fulfilled. But purpose requires intention. The future you dream about cannot be built accidentally. It must be built deliberately. Every meaningful life is the result of conscious choices. Choosing your priorities, choosing your habits, choosing your standards, choosing the kind of person you want to become. This doesn't mean life will always go according to plan. Unexpected challenges will come. Disappointments will happen. Difficult seasons will arrive. But when you're living by design, those moments no longer define you. They simply become part of the journey, because your direction remains stronger than your distractions. Every morning gives you an opportunity to choose again, to stop drifting, to stop reacting, to stop allowing circumstances to write your story. Instead, you begin writing it yourself. One intentional decision at a time, one meaningful habit at a time, one courageous choice at a time. Because a life of purpose is never created by accident. It is created through consistent intention. And the moment you stop living by default and start living by design is the moment you stop
handing your future over to chance,
reclaim the pen that writes your story, and begin creating a life that reflects your deepest values, your greatest potential, and the person you were truly meant to become. The wisdom you've gained, the life you've built. Now imagine that future version of you could sit across from you for just one conversation. What advice would they give you? More importantly, what decision would they beg you to make today? This question has incredible power because it shifts your attention away from temporary comfort and toward long-term purpose. Most people make decisions based on how they feel right now. If they don't feel motivated, they wait. If they feel afraid, they stop. If something seems difficult, they avoid it. But your future is not created by today's emotions. It is created by today's decisions. The person you become tomorrow depends on the choices you make today. Think about every successful person you've ever admired. They all reached moments when they had to choose. Choose discipline over comfort. Choose growth over convenience. Choose courage over fear. At the time, those decisions probably felt small. But looking back, they became turning points. Your life is filled with moments like that. Moments that don't seem extraordinary while you're living them. Yet years later, you realize they changed everything. That phone call you almost didn't make. That book you decided to read. That habit you chose to build. That opportunity you finally accepted. Life often changes through ordinary decisions made consistently. This is why your future self would not ask you to be perfect. They would ask you to begin, to stop waiting, to stop doubting, to stop postponing the life you know you're capable of creating, because your future self already knows something you don't. They know that today's fear eventually disappears, today's excuses eventually sound meaningless, but today's courage becomes tomorrow's confidence. Every decision is planting a seed. Some seeds grow into regret, others grow into purpose. The seed depends on the choice. So before this day ends, ask yourself one final question. What decision can I make today that my future self will thank me for? Then don't just admire the answer. Live it, because your future is not waiting for someday. It is being shaped by what you choose right now. And the moment you stop asking what life might give you and start asking what decision your future deserves from you, today is the moment your purpose becomes clear, your direction becomes stronger, and your life begins changing one courageous choice at a time until the future you once imagined becomes the reality you are finally living. What if one question could completely change the direction of your life? Not because it gives you all the answers, but because it forces you to see yourself differently. Most people spend years searching for motivation, success, and happiness. But very few stop long enough to ask the one question that changes everything. Because sometimes your future doesn't depend on finding a new opportunity. It depends on asking yourself a better question.